In this tutorial, we're looking at the Enter Data features of the Real-Time CEO software. When we select Enter Data on the left-hand module list, we have three options. The first is to add a new month, and we're going to look at this one first. The software knows what data has already been entered, so it knows which is the next month that it is expecting. And to add that, we select Add, and we then select Import to select the files that we would like to import. And on this occasion, we're bringing in May 2020 income statement, May 2020 balance sheet. When we select Next, it then shows us that the columns are tagged on the income statement, description and value. The columns are tagged on the balance sheet, description and value. And we move through to the tag rows area. This is where we have the opportunity to check that the tags that have previously been applied in previous months are all there and connected correctly. Take the opportunity to arrow down through your chart of accounts, checking all existing tags on the income statement and then the balance sheet. Please don't rush through this step because it is an important step, particularly if you have a new account that you will need to consider whether it needs a tag. Let's say, for example, that the account materials here is a new account, and we can see it has no color on it, so it's not been tagged yet. In order to add a tag to this, we go to the appropriate tab, we select the appropriate tag, and we click on the line. And that is how easy adding a new tag is. If we get it wrong, if we click on the line again, it removes the tag. Once we're satisfied that all of the tags are correct, we select Next, and it takes us to the preview of the income statement. This is another opportunity to make sure that we're bringing the correct data in. Next takes us to a preview of the balance sheet, another opportunity to ensure that we're bringing the correct data in. Next then takes us to the first of our adjustment screens. This is where we can normalize owner's salaries. So if the owner of the business is being paid something other than the commercial role, we can select Add an Adjustment. We select the account that we want to adjust, and we put in the amount being paid in actual terms and the commercial amount that the job warrants, and you can see that the adjustment amount is calculated, and we then select Add Adjustment. If we select Next, it goes to the second adjustment screen, which is non-business items, and this is where we have the opportunity to exclude dollar amounts of particular accounts that may not relate to the business, or indeed to bring in additional amounts that do relate to the business that were not in the chart of accounts. So let's say that we want to remove $1,000 from revenue class 1. We enter it as a negative number, and you can see underneath it will tell you what the value is currently and what the value will be, and we add the adjustment. When we click Finish, the first place in the software that it takes us to is the monthly data, and here is another opportunity to check the numbers that have come through. There are some basic checks to do here. The first that I always look for is, are the numbers in the most recent month different from the previous month? Do the totals look correct? I always like to keep an eye on the untagged lines. If that number changes dramatically, it's generally an indication that you've got a new chart in your chart of accounts that may be needed to be tagged. Once you're satisfied that the data is correct in both the income statement and in the balance sheet, then you can go back to the dashboard, where you will now see that it has automatically updated to the most recent month. The second feature in our Enter Historical Data gives you the ability to reload the most recent month, and you can do this as many times as you want. So you may have made some post-month end adjustments into the general ledger that has changed the data, and you want to reload that month. And the process is basically exactly the same as adding a new month, but we select the second button, which is Reload Most Recent Month. Select the files that we want to load. In this instance, we're reloading May 2020 income statement, May 2020 balance sheet, and the rest of this process is exactly the same as when we originally put the month in. The last option on enter historical data gives us the ability to process prior period adjustments, and there are two types of adjustment that we can process into a prior period. The first is depreciation, which will add the depreciation expense to a defined month and reduce fixed assets from that period onwards. If we want to do that, we select depreciation, we select the month that we would like to have the depreciation entered to, enter the amount, confirm which depreciation entry you would like that applied to, and click apply. The second adjustment option is to enable you to make adjustments to inventory and the corresponding material account. Select the inventory option, go back to the month you want to process the adjustment to, and put in the adjustment amount and select the appropriate materials, and you will then see that the materials amount is adjusted, the inventory amount in the balance sheet is adjusted, and for each period going forward. Those are the three functions in Enter Historical Data.